and welcome to Just Do It, a Dewey Brothers podcast. I'm Alex,
I'm the other one, and my name is Eric.
and this week we have to apologize for not releasing our podcast last week. We released some sort of filler thing I super definitely watched.
We did not even do that.
Oh no, oh, that's not good, Eric. We
No,
can't. The
Alex,
people need a
it's
podcast, Eric.
so I think the people are, except I personally, because ultimately we are a murder mystery podcast.
Right.
Last week, the mystery was who killed the podcast last week.
That's a good mystery, Eric. That is top notch, and I like how instead of telling our listeners this, we made them solve the mystery themselves.
And obviously, we laid out the clues in front of you. Podcast production has been down. Elo's balls have been exorbitantly enlarging, so he hasn't been able to move very well to get to upload the podcast or produce the podcast, if you will.
So
And
sweaty.
you and I, we're busy. We're busy people.
That's true, Eric. I think this podcast, we should enlighten the people on all the sort of things that we've been doing over the summer that have just made us so incredibly busy that we've neglected the podcast and mostly its production quality.
So I mean, I don't want to be the good grandson, but when I was talking to Oma the other week on her birthday, of course, she was talking to me about how at least I was informing her about all the work I've been doing this summer, and she was like, "Oh, that's good. You seem like a very busy man," and I was like, "Yes, I am." This podcast, it does have the Oma seal of approval, and of course, we would have lost that seal of approval had, instead of working on my studies and my work, had I been podcasting.
Oh yeah, that would have been a terrible problem, Eric. You got to stay vigilant, and I especially like how hard you work at dragging my name through the mud when it comes to being a good grandson. That one is
Yep, that's the trick, Alex.
that's a lot of, I really like you really worked overtime on that one.
It sometimes it's too easy, I feel like kids these days just they don't understand what goes into dragging other people's names under the mud. It is. But I recognize the art. I've been to Italy, studied the famous art pieces. And I know that it is an artistic movement and very important to understand where we came from and where we can go, especially through the inner machinations of one's own mind, and of course what a, say, painter or sculptor is able to put into their pieces. Of course, I am the artist in this case, and the podcast is my painting.
Right, and you like took a break from arting in order to come back even stronger.
Yep, Alex, this is my uh coup de grace, if you will. Although the French don't know what they're talking about. They know is the Eiffel Tower and the baguette.
Don't forget their buttresses, Eric. The French really like their buttresses.
No, Alex. They like their buttresses.
Of course, of course. Eric, I gotta come clean. Um, One of the reasons that this podcast has been suffering of late is because I've been tending to Phoenix babies, Eric. Okay, so the mom Phoenix, it came in. It's been living in my attic since the winter time, and Phoenixes don't do great in the winter.
They definitely they love the heat. I know
Yeah,
it's
they're
a
supposed to.
common myth. I was gonna say it's a common myth that they do well in the cold because they, are exothermic birds and release a lot of heat. But that's the problem. In the cold, they have to release so much more heat to keep their bodily functions in check that it's very tiring and sort of stressful on their bodies.
Yeah, no, winter is the hardest time of the year, so they migrate to Arizona.
Oh, yes, I believe that's why they named it Phoenix, because they saw a whole gander of them down there.
Hey Eric, what do you call a large group of pheni? The plural of phoenix.
Like I said, I believe it's gander. They're
Okay.
they're closely related to the geese, which of course is kind of suspect because I despise geese, and if I ever see especially a Canadian one, I will say, granted I'm a little bit of a xenophobe when it comes to that, but I grab them by the neck and I wring them out and throw them away.
Oh wow, that's I mean, Eric, I'll have you know, the game warden certified that on my lake there are no geese and there never were geese. So, if you see any, they
your
must
game
be
warden.
fake. Yeah.
They must be invasive, if you will.
But the phoenix actually endangered species, and so I saw this ailing, mama phoenix, and well, if they can't make the great journey to Arizona, what you're supposed to do is just spike them right in the heart.
Oh, okay, interesting.
You kill them. I mean, ringing them works too because they're just like geese, and then they come back from the ashes, just like our podcast is going to.
Yeah,
once I release this bird.
Alex, I was curious. You're talking about baby phoenixes, and I thought that they were immortal, and they just sort of like came back. Like the babies were just versions of themselves. So do they like proliferate, or are like is the population of phoenixes increasing, or is it just sort of a thing that stabilizes?
Well, now it's increasing. It was on a really sharp decline, Eric, because it turns out that DDT is really bad for their phoenix eggshells.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I have heard that. I believe the Charles River, which is 10 billion parts per billion DDT, is
that's right. Yeah.
not very suitable for them, especially because historically phoenixes have been known to live in the Charles River sort of watershed.
That is their territorial. That's like their ancestral homeland. Yeah, but they've had to move up the Connecticut away from the Charles. Yeah.
I'm sorry, because the Connecticut's a scary place. I've definitely spent some time there. Some of those other waterfowls are a little aggressive, and I feel bad for the phoenix population.
But Eric, they mate once every 5 years, and then they die, and they can have more than one phoenix that way.
I was gonna say,
that's how they reproduce.
So they die when they reproduce, but like, do they come back once they die, or is that only one time, or like not because they reproduce? It's like
one of the phoenix is the one that died, and the other one is its baby.
Oh, okay.
And
so
baby phoenixes, they don't always survive to adulthood,
Oh, obviously because of the DDT and other natural predators like the crocodile.
That's right, exactly. Speaking, Eric, of the Charles River, though, that's another reason that I wasn't able to do this podcast in particular last week. I was down there.
I think I know what. Yep, keep going. I understand.
Yeah. I was down there sailboat racing, and because it's 10 billion parts per 10 billion DDT, that makes it a premier sailboat racing area.
Extremely buoyant. That's
true.
You're barely dipping in there. You just glide across that. It's like a polyurethane thing.
It's like a polyurethane finish on the water.
I will say that doesn't have to do with anything. I said that doesn't have anything to do with also the coat of polyurethane that lays on top of all the DDT in there. But yes, it's the Charles is fantastic for riverboating. That's why Harvard has been so acclaimed at rowing in the past.
That's also exactly. It's why Harvard is so good at rowing and sailing and cancer research.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So the polyurethane plant just empties right into the river there, and then we have our sailboat races. And my team and I, we had one last Thursday, right when we record the podcast in the morning. And I didn't want to miss it, end of the year, big regatta. The Super Slicks was the division we were in. And that one is, I mean, you can reach speeds of 80 miles an hour. It's terrifying.
I mean, Alex, you're just scared of the speed, all right? I will say it's different because I'm up in the North Country of New York, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I was also achieving the speeds.
Ooh, how are you getting up to those speeds?
We were mudding up here, Alex. That's right. The mud fields, the corn was just harvested, so obviously the rednecks just clear cut everything, and there's no roots anywhere. It's just we got 4 feet of mud, and there's something special about mud. So we up here in the North Country, we like to say we have winter, spring, 2 weeks of summer, and then mudding season. Actually, I take that back. Spring is mudding season, and then we have a additional mudding season, which is when all the crops get cut down because winter is coming back. So we have winter, mudding season, some nice weather, and then mudding season again, and that's just right back into winter.
Right on, right on.
And mudding season, oh my gosh, it's so fun. You that's where you really learn how to drift. All right.
How do you drift, Eric, a Ford tractor as opposed to, say, a Dewey Brothers Drift-O-Matic 12
I think you mean
speed
a
dual clutch
a pimp my tractor.
turbocharged
Yes.
pimp my tractor mobile. Yeah.
Well, one actually. So the what was the first option that you gave me? A John Deere.
Ford.
Ford. So Ford, they've been trying to create their tractors a little steadier to sort of deal with the mud and like that. I don't know. These days they're such a Midwest sort of brand. Like they don't really appeal to the thrill of the tractor. Whereas Pimp My Tractor actually has a set of drifting tires. All
Well, yeah,
right.
they have racing slicks for drifting in the mud.
Yep. So they have
Yeah.
North Country approved drifting slicks, and I swear I got 4 donuts last week. It was amazing. But of course, so there was so much mud all over me. I wasn't allowed anywhere other than the mud fields, and I just acted as a scarecrow. That's why I missed the podcast last week.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense, Eric. You said you got 4 donuts. Is it what flavored donut season is it? Because that's how I tell time in the North Country. Is it's all about what donuts the Stewart's shop is selling. If the podcast listeners need to know, Eric, is orange donut season officially over?
Orange donut has passed.
Oh,
It's on to straight glazed right now.
ooh,
All right,
they're
so
in the in between.
we're in between orange and chocolate covered.
All right.
We're at just plain glazed. I expect this for a another week or two, and then we'll get into chocolate. And I personally I've always been a friend of the winner, where of course you can either get the jelly or the apple fritter, but right now we're just at a simple chocolate.
Okay, apple fritter hasn't hit yet.
No, it's
All right.
close though. It's close. It's
Okay.
right around the corner.
Gotcha. And when is the maple donut gonna hit?
So the maple donut, that's actually a early mudding season thing.
Oh,
That's
okay. That's mudding season number 1.
yeah,
Got you.
that's OG mudding season, if you will.
And then what do we call the second mudding season?
Oh, we're in mudding season 2, mudding boogaloo.
Got you. I got you. That makes sense. Yeah. Now that's being a scarecrow, that sort of thing just happens. You know what I mean?
You gotta witness it all, and hey, we've all been on scarecrow duty once or twice. I definitely rolled my tractor. So I was the first one to roll it. I got put up in the field, strung up for a week. It was hard to come back from, but I'm pretty sure Billy Bob Johnson got it this week. I understand his pain, but especially when it gets a little cold at night. But it's how we
Yeah, no,
how
I
we live.
totally understand, Eric. Speaking of the seasons changing, here's what I was actually something that's really important to me, and I had to put the podcast second to it, so I hope our listeners can understand. Is that how you said there's a gap between orange and chocolate donuts?
Yeah, of course.
I've been actually working with Stewart's to engineer another donut flavor
Mm-mm.
to fill the gap.
Sir,
Yeah.
there's no way. What are you doing? Because that's a
down to
multi-$100 deal right there.
Oh, yeah, no, Eric. I told him that I needed unlimited of the new donut flavor, and that was my price. And I've been
Okay.
sweating away making test batch after test batch here, Eric. And I've narrowed it down to 3 flavors, okay?
I want to hear these.
The first one, cotton candy.
Mm.
Reminds you of the fair.
Hmm.
Figured that one's pretty good. Second one, this is this is a harvest time donut,
Okay. Okay.
corn,
Hey, everyone loves corn. It's real popular, especially on the
glazed
internet right now.
with corn chunks, also known as kernels.
Oh, you got that. You got that kernel
It's got the
donut,
corn
don't you?
kernel crumble. Oh yeah,
Alex,
yeah.
genius.
I know. And the third one, Eric, this one's a bit controversial. The sweet tea donut.
See, Alex, that's not gonna work up here. Sweet tea is south of the Mason-Dixon. Stewart's are only operating way up here, bro. We take our iced tea, iced and tea flavored, and then we add the sugar ourselves. We don't do that sweet tea.
Good point. Well, maybe you can help me because my original survey group was 27 people that I picked up in Mexico and gave donuts. So maybe that's why sweet tea was hitting really high marks.
I mean, I'm not gonna blame you there. You
They
know,
also kept telling me that they didn't know what a corn was, but that maize donuts were all the rage.
oh wait, maize donuts. Are those the ones that like come in the funky patterns and you have to figure out how to
You're supposed
eat
to eat
it
them.
correctly?
Yeah, exactly. You're also supposed to eat them while you're doing a corn maze.
Hmm.
Or as my friends in Mexico says, "Es una maze, amigo."
See now that. Oh,
Yeah,
is that because it's an amazing maze? Like it's so
I
complex that it really
dude, I don't
amuses
speak
you.
Mexican, bro.
I see. I don't either. That's one of those languages I've never figured out.
Yeah, it's like English. We only speak American on this American podcast.
That's true. Also a little bit of Slovenian and a touch bit of hamster,
Oh,
hamsterese, if you will.
I mean, Eric and I are both obviously fluent in hamsterese because we
I
got to
mean,
talk to
squeak,
Bilo.
squeak, gnarl, gnarl, jibbity jab.
Nibble, 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 squeak, squeak.
Oh my, Alex, that's a good one.
Eric,
That's a good
I
joke
know,
right there.
right?
Oh man, that was
Hilarious,
hysterical.
hilarious.
I don't know how you come up with that stuff, man.
Anyway, Eric, I think we should probably wrap. Speaking of our executive producer, he's telling me that we need to wrap this podcast up because it's full
He's
of
actually
excuses.
requesting a little bit extra treats because he feels that he was shorted out last week.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, which of these 3 donuts is it? Is it going to be sweet tea, corn, or cotton candy?
All right, Bilo, I'm gonna need you to whisper in my ear right now. Oh, okay. Yep. Oh, wow. Really? That's interesting. So that like you wouldn't go anywhere near that one. Interesting. Oh, you actually spent a semester abroad in in Colombia? Oh, sorry, not Colombia, in Peru with your you. Oh, you actually have guinea pig cousins? Interesting. That's very interesting. He's gonna have to go with the maize one, Alex.
Oh, he's going with the corn? Corn
Yep, yep,
flavor? All right,
yep.
Eric. Corn flavor Stewart's Donies. They're coming to a Stewart's near you, and we'll get Bilo a box of our test product.
Oh, he wants it.
Yeah. Speaking of Stewart's corn flavored donuts, this podcast is also brought to you by Driftin' Slicks. Just do it. Pimp My Tractor mud slick tires for when you need the perfect
Mhm.
amount of drift on the cornfield. Now, don't
That
ever use these under any circumstance and voids the warranty if you use them during mudding season 1. These are specifically designed for mudding season 2.
Mud season 2, air temp's a little bit cooler. That's how you get the real drift. Ain't that
Exactly.
right, Bilo? Alex, I have to thank none other than um. This is brought to you by Duolingo with their new option for hamsterese. That's right. Learn how to speak hamster in 10 simple weeks. Nice little program just for let you to learn some hamster so you can communicate with our true executive producer overlords.
Hey, Eric, squeak, squeak, squeak. Cheek pouch left, cheek pouch left, cheek pouch right.
Ooh,
Nibble,
Alex,
nibble.
you scandalous boy.
I know. I know. This podcast is brought to you by Homegrown Hapu. You probably messed up if your Oktoberfest isn't in there, because Oktoberfest is starting
Coming
soon,
up soon.
so
It's
it's
soon.
better be brewing. You got to get them hops in there to brew.
Mm-hmm.
Homegrown hops.
Alex, we honestly we couldn't have done it without our one and only Big Rosé. This week, and by this week I mean their newest creation, first hitting the ballroom floors everywhere, is Big Rosé Classic. That's right. Do you remember those good old days when you first heard about Big Rosé and you were like, wow, this is so ingenuitive and amazing? Well, now get that every time you pour it into your glass. This is Big Rosé Classic, bringing back to simpler times, easier times, and I don't know, probably like COVID everywhere. Although it's still here. That's why we brought it back. Let's be real.
Big Rosé Classic. All the great taste of Big Rosé, but with whatever they add to Coors Banquet to make it banquet flavored.
Just in time for Oktoberfest.
That's true. That's true, Eric. We gotta do a bit of an ad for the podcast you're currently listening to, which is one of my favorite segments every time I'm listening to podcasts, which is that Eric and I are gonna do a draw off next week. So we need our listeners to send us ideas until we have enough of them to do a draw off. I just checked my calendar. Next week we might not. Send us your things to draw, and Eric and I are going to draw them. It's going to be
We're gonna have a
draw
draw. We're gonna
freestyle.
figure out the video. It's going up on YouTube. We're gonna have
be a thing.
competing videos, you know, side by side, maybe
Some sort of dueling draw off action.
And obviously, I'm gonna win because I am un artiste. Or I have been taking some hamster, so a squeak squeak, left pouch nibble nibble.
Oh yeah, wow, Eric, there's not a word for that in English, but I got to tell you, I am quaking in my little hamster house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so is Beulah right now. I just
Mm-hmm.
let out a very, very long and arduous flatulence pattern that it shook him to his core.
Oh no, that means we got to end this podcast. But send in your drawing ideas so that Eric and I can draw them next week whenever we get to it.
My condolences for not recording a podcast last week. We're just so busy with the myriad of things that we were doing.
All that stuff that we were doing. Listen to this podcast. I hope we explained it adequately what we were up to. This has been Just Do It, an apology podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm Eric.
And for the love of God, man.
I mean, I would send it, but like I just feel so bad. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna send it. Send it.